little hotel room. So cute. I just did the egg retrieval. My privates hurt and my stomach hurts. And I heard them saying the number 8 a lot. So I'll see if that's accurate. And I'm just waiting. Here's the button. And I have a drip. I'm meant to be sleeping, but I'm too excited to know about the stuff. I just remembered at one point, so I felt like I was just asleep, but not really. Like, it felt the whole time, it felt like I was waiting for them to start, but I was just happily relaxed. And the doctor was just kind of checking, like, ready to start, but like not doing it, is how it felt the whole time. And then at some point, I was like, oh, it hurts a little bit. And they were like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna give you a butt suppository. And then the doctor had gone away at that point. And then the nurse gave me a butt suppository. That was the painkiller or something. And I was like, okay. I've just realised how funny that is. I don't know if that's a Japan thing or if that's, I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, that was fun. Oh my god, I got home from the doctor's, so I can explain everything incoherently, maybe now. But basically, this morning I woke up, at some point last night, I had the most insane acid reflux I've ever had in my life. I was basically thought I was gonna die. It was so bad. I was in the middle of the night, and I actually just thought like, oh, I've just eaten too much pizza. So then I got ready this morning. I had to get up really early, couldn't eat anything, I could only drink water, and then got to the clinic, and as soon as I got there, the receptionist was immediately like, oh, I also had this really bad stomach pain, like really bad stomach pain, and it felt so uncomfortable and so painful, and I was just like, oh crap. I was literally like, crap, I've eaten too much pizza, like I've like messed up the surgery, like, oh no. So yeah, I was really worried that I was bad for eating too much pizza. So then anyway, got to the clinic, and the receptionist was like, oh, do you want to go to the toilet? Was like one of the first things she said, and I was like, okay. So then I went to the toilet. That's unusual. And then when they called me to go to speak to the doctor, the first thing he said was like, does your stomach hurt? Like immediately, like before anything else, he was like, oh, so does your stomach hurt? And I was like, yeah. What? So apparently the stomach pain wasn't pizza, it was normal. It's hurting right now. And then he said they were gonna check the eggs again. They checked again, they could see that the eggs had got bigger or whatever. They didn't say any like numbers or anything. They didn't say like how many or the sizes or anything like that. And I was like, okay, we can do the surgery. So then they took me to a different room. Oh yeah, they took me to my little private bedroom thing. It was so nice to have somewhere to just like decombobulate with all the like feelings and like anxiety and everything, to just be put into a nice little room and be like, okay, just like wait here for a bit and get changed and like breathe. That was so nice. So I loved going in there. I was there for like maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and then again the nurse was like, oh, can you go to the toilet again? And I was like, okay. So I went to the toilet again, got changed, and I was really surprised. I got changed into the like nightgown thing they wanted me to wear, and she walked me over, and I had no idea the surgery room where they do the like egg retrieval and everything is like a 2-minute walk from the waiting room I've been going to all this time. Like, I had no idea. And the clinic have slightly weird hours where like I've noticed when I get there early in the morning, there's a lot of people there anyway, and I think it's because they have the people there early in the morning to do the egg retrievals, and then they close from like 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. or something like that, and that'll come up later. Anyway, so then I go into the operation room, and there's the nurse who speaks English on one side of me on the right, and the anaesthetist or whatever it's called on the left, and they're both lovely, and they're like, oh, lie down on here, and then they're both looking for veins, because on my record it says I have a really hard like veins to find, and I assumed like, oh, they're gonna put veins in both sides, they're gonna put needles in both sides of me or something. So we were all just like laughing along about how like it's hard to find veins in my arms and stuff. And they're like, oh, do you remember like where we found one last time? Like, do you remember like how we did it and stuff like that? Anyway, so she found a vein finally, the nurse on my left side, who was the anaesthetist. And then when she found it, while she was looking, I was like, oh, ganbatte, like try your best. And then when she found it, I was like, oh, my dead dog, it means like congratulations, and she found that hilarious. And then the one on my right stopped looking and was like, oh, good, we found it. Like, they were both looking for veins because they knew that it would be really hard to find them. So I found that really funny. And then they were like, oh, I don't remember. They were basically just like, okay, cool, so just lie down and relax or whatever, or let you comfortable. And then it's like a blur. So like, it's really weird because the drip was started, I guess. They turned the lights off, like, down low. And then, I heard the doctor come in. And I could hear, like, bustling, like, the nurses and stuff. Then I started to feel really relaxed. And then at some point I was like, oh, nemui. Like, oh, I'm sleepy. And the nurse was like, the nurse who speaks English was like, yeah, it's okay, you can go to sleep or whatever. But it didn't feel like I fell asleep. It felt like, you know, being like drunk or high, or like the bit before you fall asleep, like the bit just before you're about to fall asleep, where you're like completely relaxed. So it felt like that, but I was still kind of aware what was going on. So then like, I could hear the doctor like noticed I have a mouse tattoo here and I have one on my leg, and the one on my leg they saw ages ago and they found it funny and cute and stuff. But the one up here, they all saw for the first time. So they were like, oh, you have another mouse tattoo? And I was like, oh yeah, I love animals or whatever. And they were like, oh, okay. And then the doctor was like, oh, and you're also wearing you've got mouse tattoos and you've got cat socks. And then the nurse was like, oh, those are Lion King socks, because I have Lion King socks on today because I love that movie. And he was just like, found it hilarious. So like, it's just really lovely. And then I don't know, but I remember like, I could hear like chatting. I don't feel like I went like fall asleep, wake up. I could kind of hear chatting, I couldn't feel anything. And then I heard the doctor definitely say like, hachi, like a few times, like he said the number 8. So I was like, oh, he got 8 eggs or something. I have no idea. I think it turned out it wasn't 8 eggs, so like I think he was talking about like measurements for something or something like that. I have no idea, or I just made it up. And then at some point he did something, like he took something out or something, and then I was like, oh, it hurts a little bit or something. And then the nurse was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna give you something for that. And then she was like, it's gonna be, I have a suppository or something. So she immediately gave me like an anal suppository, and I was just like, what, in the Japan? Oh my god. And then I read about it later, and an anal suppository is less pain on the stomach because the stomach pain is already like really bad. So that's like, okay. And then what else? Yeah, so then at some point she's like, okay, it's finished, like you can sit up. So I just like sat up, like so out of it and dizzy and just like, why do I have to sit up? Sat up and they had a wheelchair and they helped me get into the wheelchair, and then like they wheeled me to the bed, and I basically like was falling asleep on the wheelchair. This like 1 second journey from the like operation room to my room, and then they got me into the bed, and they were just like, they had this like heating pack for my like a heated blanket thing for my feet, and then they didn't let me have a pillow for some reason. The pillow they put between my legs, I think because they need to like make sure if I put my legs together it would hurt too much or something. And then she went away, and I was just like, bleh. But like again, like I didn't feel like I fell asleep. It felt more like I got like really sleepy and then just like quiet for a while. She came in and out a couple of times and was like, oh, if you need help, press this button. And then at some point she came in and was like, oh, I'm gonna take out the gauze. And then she took something out, and turned out the pain I'd had was actually like a giant gauze tampon thing they put in at the end, and that was the painful thing. And she was like, oh good, there's no blood on it or whatever. Yeah, and then I was just like really like fighting between wanting to sleep and being too excited to sleep, because I really wanted to know like what they'd got, or like if they got any eggs and all that stuff. And then after like so that was 9:30 I came out of the operation, and then at like 1:30 they came in and were like, okay, you can get ready to go home, after coming in and out a couple of times to check I was okay. And I was just like in and out of falling asleep and like texting my partner and then falling asleep again. And then I went to the doctor, and he said there were four follicles, but 2 of them didn't have an egg, and 2 of them did have an egg, and the eggs were really healthy and the sperm were really healthy. So they're already started with like, what's it called, fertilizing the eggs. And so today's Monday, and on Friday I have to call them to find out like if it worked. So I'm just like, I just have to wait. Sounds awful. But yeah, I came home okay. My stomach is only just starting to hurt. Like it wasn't really a problem all day, and it's only just starting to hurt very mildly. And the main thing I've had all day is just dizziness and tiredness. So yeah, I'll update when, I guess, unless I have any big like pain symptoms or anything, I'll just update when I get the news about if it worked with the eggs. And oh yeah, so the only drugs I have now is antibiotics for 3 days, just in case, because of the surgery. And now I just wait. I'm so like overwhelmed and nervous about it that like there's nothing I can do at this point. Like there's a little egg somewhere in a lab in central Tokyo that has my DNA and my partner's DNA, and it's just like trying to like make the like DNA work, and like trying to make the blastocyst, and like I can't do anything about it. Like it's just over there somewhere, and like it's really 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 hard to not go like, oh, but that could be, that has that, those 2 little eggs with the sperm have all the DNA that like knows like, I don't know, like how tall they'll be, or like what color hair they'll have, or like if they'll have my nose, or like what color eyes they'll have, or like it's so hard to not be like, oh my god, that information is in them like now, like they exist somewhere. Because before everything's been so like hypothetical, like the follicles hypothetically have eggs in them and all that stuff, and now it's like, no, they got 2 eggs, like they got 2 eggs. and that's so weird for me to like process. Yeah, that's a lot. I don't want to get attached to like some cells, but I'm attached to some cells already. So yeah, see how that goes. Okay, this is just me taking off all of the injection plasters I use. I didn't necessarily need them each time, but like it just feels special to take them all off now that I'm in a different stage.